the freaking show on my page.
Alright.
Okay, our chat just went live. Now it'll be a matter of waiting for our music to go off, and then we'll start the show.
Alright.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome back to another night show. Tonight's dating scene topics up here, and I'm going to be getting into a little bit of controversial stuff, but it's all stuff that's true. I have Warren here with me as well. Welcome to the show, Warren.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Doing good. So anyhow, I'm going to start the show off tonight with a little something Jerry shared with me today that I find to be very interesting, and it's all true. You know, I've talked about social conditioning and programming in the past, and I've told people like how every generation they add one little more baby step to their programming. And they've done this for neons now. Every generation, they'll add another step to it, and then another step to it, and another step to it, and another step to it. We didn't get where we're at overnight. We didn't get here by accident. Okay, so in 1919, in May of 1919, in Dusseldorf, Germany, Allied forces obtained a copy of the communist rules for revolution. 50 years later, the Reds are still following these rules. Now, I know that people are first off are going to say, well, this is in Germany. Well, let me tell you something. This is more than in Germany. This has been going on all over the world. And you've been staring at this programming as long as you've been alive and you didn't even know you was. So I'm going to go on here, okay? A, corrupt the young. Get them away from religion. Get them interested in sex. In sex. What's one of the major money makers in the United States? The sex industry. What do you find all over the internet? Porn. What does everybody think love is? Sex. Okay, now I'm going to go onward here. Make them superficial. Destroy their ruggedness. That's already happened. Everything's already superficial right in your face. Okay? B, get control of all means of public, thereby, 1, get the people's minds off their government. Okay, what's the first two things that nobody ever wanted to talk about for years and years now? Political topics, which is government and religion. So there you are. You got your mind off the government, right? By focusing their attention on athletics, sexy books, and plays and other trivials. Well, there you are. Athletics, sports, football, baseball, basketball, you name it. That's right. Sex, sexy books, porn, pornography. There we go again. Divide the people. Number 2, divide the people into hostile groups by constantly harping on controversial matters of no importance. Wow, how many times have we seen that? Hundreds and hundreds of times, haven't we? Destroy
Yeah, you know.
exactly. Destroy the people's faith in their natural leaders by holding the ladder up to contempt. Okay? Ridicule, okay, and obloquy, or whatever you call that word. Obloquy. But anyhow, always preach to dominate, but seize power as fast as ruthlessly as possible. That's right, go after power as fast as possible. By encouraging government, okay, destroy its credit, produce fear of inflation. Huh, haven't we produced fear of inflation over and over? Yes, we have. With raising prices and general discontent. Now, we've seen all that going on for a long time, haven't we, Warren?
Yeah, you know,
Okay,
it's
for
been going on.
exactly format unnecessary strikes in virtual industries, encourage civil disorders. There you go, encourage civil disorders. So you should follow what I'm
And that's
saying
what they're
here.
doing right now.
Go
I mean,
ahead.
if you look at the media right now, what are they doing? They're encouraging civil disorder, all this political correctness, and all this. You know, they'll defend like their protected groups acting outrageously all the damn time. Like the media gets out there and defends, all these violent hate organizations like feminism and Black Lives Matter and La Raza and all this other shit. I mean, the liberal media will defend that shit and support it.
Yep. By suspicious argument,
You know.
7, yep, cause the breakdown of old moral virtues. Honesty, okay, sobriety, confidence, faith, okay, pledged word, and ruggedness. So, okay, now catch this again. So, what you want to do now, what they did, number 7, is by suspicious argument, cause the breakdown of morals, okay, honesty, okay, sobriety, and confidence. How does that work into our society, Warren? Hasn't all of them been destroyed?
Yeah, it's funny because us being TFLers, they always want to tell us about confidence, right? Most people don't know what confidence is, man. They just use it because it's a losing term. But I mean, yeah, we live in an immoral society, man. It's almost like to use an analogy. If you raise a bunch of kids to be spoiled growing up, right? They're not used to getting disciplined, or not used to having their bottom popped for doing wrong, you know. And then one day, you know, somebody decides, okay, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to just act however decadent and fuck over whoever you want to. Maybe you should be responsible for your behavior, you
Yeah.
know. And now then that parent becomes, oh, well, he's a big doo doo head, right? I'm not going to listen to him because he's not telling me what I want to hear. Well, that's our society right there, man. When you point out, the way our society behaves, they don't want to hear that. They know they're fucked up and they know they're decadent. They don't see a problem with that. To them, that's perfectly normal. And you're crazy and you're weird for having an issue with it. Somehow, they have the audacity to sit here again and say that, if we say a society like this is built on a foundation of deceit and deception and lies, isn't going to be able to last. That becomes a conspiracy theory.
Well,
You know,
I did a video today, and I gave it this name, and I broke it into the dating arena because so many people have a problem still figuring out how New World Order and the political and everything they're fighting, how it would even involve the dating scene. They can't figure that out. It's above their IQ when it's so in their face.
well, you know what it is, man. People only want to see what they want to see, what they're willing to see.
Well,
A
yeah,
lot of these same people, especially in the truth movement, they're willing to admit that the government's got a hand in literally everything else, man. From advertisement to school to education to jobs to to what items are sold on the market. Every little thing is micromanaged. They have no problem admitting that. But somehow, magically, when it comes to the dating scene and shit, there's no way they could be possibly involved with that. So what
well,
do you think eugenics is?
well, Warren, hold on. Let me go on a little further here. So I did a video today that's going to be, it just went live. It's up on 153news.net. Bill 122460, my channel there. Like I told you, I'm not going to be posting a lot up on YouTube anymore. This video went up over there. What I did was I gave you a couple of prime examples in your face, okay, of the breakdown of our society and the programming. So let me give you one example of the programming of the female mind. Now, I'm not blaming the women no more than I'm blaming the men because this has been going on forever and it's all social engineering and programming that's happened to us. So here we go. We have two females that are like sort of dating one another. They're in prison. You know, it's a female's prison, right? And there's one
Yeah.
female, she's 25 years old. She's in there, no less for murder. The guy who killed her boyfriend, she ran off with him. Huh, she wouldn't say any more about it other than she took off with the guy who killed her boyfriend. So now let's make sense out of that. She ran off with the guy who kills her boyfriend. So you already know she didn't love her boyfriend or she wouldn't run with the guy that kills him. Which means most likely she was behind him being killed to begin with. So
Yeah.
she's behind bars for this. And she's talking and she's laughing because she thinks this is funny. Now this is the part that's going to get you. See, she picked out. Hold on, Warren. Let me finish. She picked out. Okay, she picked out staff workers that work in her prison that she knows don't have nobody in their life that are unable to get a date. Now, catch this. She knew by looking at them they were unable to get a date. Now, I talked about this in my video. We know this to be true. 80 to 85% of the female population chases after 15 to 20% of the men. That is no lie. That leaves staggering numbers of men that will never get nobody. So she caused these people that she picked out that are staffers, she caused them basically losers, weak. She picked out the weak, the unable to get somebody in their life, and she seduced this person, seduced them, and flirted with them and seduced them, and used them to get money because they're a staff worker in the prison. Now, because they gave her money, this is what she says. And her friend agreed. This person should be fired from their job because they helped her out and gave her money. This person should be fired from their job, and how dare them come into this prison thinking they can get a lick on me when they have their freedom. Now, hold on. She's the one that seduced them. She's the one that come on to them and use them for money to turn around and say, how dare them come into this prison and work here and think they're going to get a lick on me when they have freedom.
They have freedom of prisoners.
Well, you know, I mean, well, let's put the reality is this. She's involved in killing her boyfriend. That's why she's in prison. She seduces
Yeah.
she seduces the guard herself. She comes on to the guard, okay? Uses the seducing tactics, picks out somebody she's confident that would be TFL, uses that as a ploy to get money, then crucifies them, says they should be fired from their job, and then turns around and says,
Yeah, you know what
how
happened,
dare them think they can lick on me when I'm locked up.
She set up the TFL, or she set him up and used him a little bit to get to his money. And then once she got what she wanted from him, she ditched him for the bad boy, had the bad boy fucking come in and kill him, and then she ran off with the bad boy.
Well, she's doing this while she's in prison. Now that may be why she's there from to begin with, because you got to realize the reason she's in prison is because she had her boyfriend was killed and she ran off with the guy who killed her boyfriend. That's the reason she's in prison.
Yeah.
So now while she's in prison, she seduces staff, workers in the prison. She knows this worker. You gotta understand this in the female's prison and in the male's prison. In an all male's prison, you actually have female guards. No lie. That's fact. In a women, plus male guards, okay? In a women's prison, you'll have female guards and male guards both. You will have employees that are male as well in a women's prison. Okay, the same as in the men's prison, you have both genders in there working. So what she done is she picked out somebody. See, it's not an accident that you would have 85% of the female population chasing after 15 to 20% of the men. That's not an accident. These women have been programmed by books, by magazines, by fascism, by the media, modern lingerie, by the media, by Hollywood. They've been programmed and they go after what they're programmed to like. So she picks out the weak guard who she knows ain't got somebody in their life at home. Uses him for money, seduces him, uses him for money, and then says he should be fired from his job. And attacks him and blames him for her seducing him. So she's taking no accountability for any of her own doings.
Of course. Because no matter what a woman does, nothing's ever her fault. It's always somebody else's fault, right? That's what our society teaches them.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. Now, in that same video, I also threw a guy in there. This was a guy who, when he got arrested, he spent 40 years abducting women, tying these women up, and he had this thing that he called was basically a spot that he built where he held them hostage and he raped them. And I mean, and he had all these sex torture things, and he raped and killed women. And he got by with it for almost 40 years. Now, I don't condone his actions. I don't agree with anything he did, but he's sick, okay? But so's she. And why did I use them two examples? Because these are extreme cases, but this is how sick our society's become. Because TFL isn't an accident. You have lots and lots of men who live years without nobody in their life. And then for men that do get somebody in their life, you're taking a chance of having lots of drama and lots of hell. Because people don't know what love is. People don't know how to treat each other anymore. You've had the cremation of care, which was another program that was brought into society. Did a really good job of taking people's care away from nobody cares about nobody. They all care about themselves. You've overless.
That's really the problem right there. That's really what it comes down to is we live in a society where everybody's raised, because especially too when you factor in single mother households, okay, people are raised in this narcissistic, nihilistic society where everybody for themselves, fuck everyone else, I gotta get mine, and nobody cares about anybody else. And if they claim to half the time they're just lying because, lying's so normal in our society. I mean, there's a normal lie, but nobody wants to be lied to, so people claim that. I mean, it's like you can't believe anything that comes out of anybody's mouth. Even when they say that they mean well or they want to do good, do they, or are they just saying that, bro? Because, I mean, how do you know when they're lying and when they're telling the truth? Because lies became so fucking normal in our society, you can't believe anything that comes out of people's mouths.
It's gotten that bad, yes, and Warren's correct. It has gotten that bad. Even in the so-called...
People don't even debate to learn or to find solutions or arguments. They debate to win. Even when they know they're wrong, they'll pull tactics to knowingly defend a lie just to win.
Well, but they can't win. As far as I'm concerned... Well, one is like this. When they know they're lying, they've already lost. I don't give a shit how good of an argument they put up. A lie is a lie.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Okay, so I don't care what they say. They didn't win nothing. The only thing they did was show that there's somebody who could never be trusted or believed. That they're a liar, they're a lowlife. Then you got the other majority of people, Jerry's going to do this protest on the 14th of this month. And he's going to Newtown to do the protest. And I posted up a video and I tried to get people to go along. If I could get even 2 or 3 people in my own state to meet somewhere, okay, to do the same thing here while he's doing it there. But you know how hard that is? Because all of these people that are speaking out how they want the corruption stopped are willing to do absolutely nothing themselves. I guess they just think magically it'll go away on its own, or it's somebody else's job to do it. I'm not going to get involved. That's how come you're going to lose your ass. That's how come you're already losing. That's how come the evil's winning.
Yeah.
So what you have is, when I've said this a long time ago too, I laugh at these people and say, well, I live in the United States of America. I'm in the land of the free. And then I fell out of my chair laughing. And I laughed and laughed some more. Because you're not in the land of the free. Okay, you're the land of the enslaved. Okay, then I hear them say, well, we're the home of the brave. So you mean that yellow streak going from the back of your back clear down to the crack of your ass while you're cowering in the corner and running and too chicken to even hold a sign and go out in public and protest, too scared to call into a radio show? That's brave? Well, your founding fathers, say even though they were Freemasons, there's people that died for you to have what phony freedom you've had. Well, you're not even brave enough if you're not even brave enough to get up and hold a sign or to do anything about anything, don't tell me you're in the land of the brave, because you're a coward.
I mean, like 30 years ago, man, there's some kind of general sentiment of people want to question the government, question authority. You won't necessarily call it a conspiracy theorist for not trusting the authorities. And most people, to some degree or another, did have a distrust of the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
It won't lie. There was a little more wiggle room to not necessarily be a complete fucking status conformist to every damn thing.
Oh, I know.
You look at where it's gotten at today, man. I mean, it's like, we live in a pampered society that's completely raised by big daddy government. They're scared to question everything because oh my God, if we question daddy, they might take away our privileges.
Oh, I know.
They might put their foot down because we're not allowed to be a bunch of nihilistic, snarky little brats.
Yeah, but hold on, Warren. I've got a caller. Warren, hold on. I have a caller, 111. You're live on the show if you want to say anything.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, and how are you?
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Good.
I'm doing all right, man.
Good. All right, I have a couple of devil's advocates, if you're ready for them.
No, okay, right. So you have a little division. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so first one, the whole the shooting at the school is in New England, right? What do you call the shooting of the kids and stuff?
Sandy Hook. I want Sandy Hook. That was.
All right. So you know how Bill made a video where he said that they had a reward that if you could bring up a death certificate, that you get paid $20,000, right?
Nope, that's actual fact. It's not 20,000; it's 100,000.
All right. Okay, I believe that. Now let me play devil's advocate with that. Would you take $100,000 for your kid? No, of course, right?
Well, that's not the point. You're not playing devil's advocate. You're missing the entire point. You're totally missing the entire point.
No, I got the point.
Well, if you got the point, then you would.
Okay, let me finish.
Hold on. If you have the point, that you would understand that there's 32 false flags on this list. If you can show one legit death in 32 different false flags that are on this list, show and prove one person died, you will get $100,000.
Right, but I'm telling you why the parents wouldn't do it. All right, there's a reason why parents don't have life insurance on their kids. A couple of reasons. Number one, because the chances that a kid would die would be much lower, right? You would usually die before your kid. And number two, no one would want to get money after their child died, because it's almost like you feel so guilty about taking that money that it's like, what would you like?
That don't wash with me, though. I'll tell you why that don't wash with me, because, I mean, I don't have a kid, but I put myself in that situation. Let's say I did have a kid. My kid died in that attack, right? And I consider it a complete injustice, a complete travesty, right? And it's not about money, no, but I could use that money to good things to try to, I mean, I can't make their death right, but I can at least try to, you know, at least try to do something to raise awareness or to fight back and stuff.
Well, they don't even, but you're only using one example, okay? So let's go to Las Vegas, because that's one of them. Okay, can you show me prove that one person died in that concert that night? Leave the children out of this. Prove that one person died in that concert that night, and you will have $100,000. So now, how do the kids equate with the shooting in Las Vegas and a concert?
But okay, we've had this conversation before because the New World Order, they're evil. Why would they use actors? They would do it for real. They're mean. Why wouldn't they kill people for real?
Wow.
You don't think they? You don't think?
You're so lost.
Yeah,
okay, well, hold on.
Kill people for real. I don't have all the answers, man. I don't know always why they do it. We don't have all the answers. We don't always know why they do each and every little thing. We can only go by on what we can gain. But they do use Christ as actors.
So you're telling me, I know.
There are some times where, for whatever reasons may be, they don't actually kill people.
I understand that, but hold on now. Let me finish this. Cythorn and Granny, Conspiracy Granny and Cythorn, they're the ones putting up the $100,000. They was on this show last night. They were live on this show last night. Now, let me tell you something. When I talk about Vegas, and you're going to say, well, but. So what you're telling me is nobody wants $100,000. No, it don't. There's nobody that would want $100,000. That's what you're telling me.
All right.
Well, yeah.
Let me finish my point, because this is my point. All right. Well, I know it's been years since the Sandy Hook, but just let's take an example, Bill. If something happened to your child and someone would come up to you the next day and say, Bill, I'm going to give you $100,000 if you can prove your son is dead, you'd be like, what the fuck? You get out of my fucking face. My son just fucking died. Are you telling me I'm a liar that my son's dead?
Well, I mean, that's a nice argument you're having.
Initially, but 10 years later, 15, 20 years later, at some point, that offer's on the table. I mean, if it just happened, I mean, you're going to be emotional. You're not going to be in a state like that. But at some point, man,
I can understand. I can understand what he's saying.
To try to avenge his death, or to try to, gain some good out there, some kind of words to stop, things like that from happening to someone else's kids in the future, I mean.
Well, I understand what he's saying, but you're talking about a child, but you left all the other things out. So when I brought up the Las Vegas shooting, or I brought up any of the other stuff, like I told you, there's a list of 32 different false flags. Take your pick.
I think the Vegas. I guarantee you probably find the gravestones of people that were killed in Vegas. I guarantee if you look at the dead people who died list, I guarantee you can go on findagrave.com, and I guarantee there'll be grave sites for a lot of them.
Okay, so that's fine. But it still comes down to the fact that what you're telling me is nobody wants $100,000.
No, I'm telling you that I believe that they actually died, and the parents don't want.
I'm not saying that. Okay, let's say, what about your older people? What about your older people got shot? I'm not talking about children. What about somebody didn't have place? Hold on, man. Hold on. I understand that.
I don't agree with everything he's saying.
Hold on. Okay, well, I was trying to get a point across here. Okay, so I can understand what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is actually pretty simple. What if you had no life policy insurance? What if the person was, like in the Vegas shooting, was up in their 40s or 50s, and they didn't have a life policy insurance, and somebody says, show me their death certificate and I'll give you $100,000, and that would pay for their funeral, and you ain't got the money to pay for it. Okay, you don't want the money then?
Okay, did they, legally, this company, this group that you're talking about, did they put the money in escrow and have the money ready?
They've already backed it up. Yes.
Or they just
Yes. No, they are not bullshit. They've already proven they have it, and it's been put into a separate fund for just that. And it's been up for grabs for over 2 years. Nope, it's for real. And it's been up for grabs for over 2 years.
I know.
So if you know somebody that died in Vegas, if you know somebody that died in them 32 lost flags, if you can produce a death certificate showing legitly one of the names they claim died, you got yourself $100,000. Now it's been up for grabs for 2 years. It's already been proven the money is there, and nobody has collected it.
I tend to agree with Bill on that too, man. Because here's the thing, man. Okay, maybe some people might have had that mentality where they don't want as he said, they didn't want that blood money from their dead child. Okay, theoretically you argue that, but this happens to so many people. See, not everybody's going to think that way. I mean, different people are going to think differently on that. I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like I get, like at first, like in the immediate aftermath, people are probably going to be emotional. They're not going to want to hear shit like that.
Well, but okay, well, you got Aaron. Okay, just in the comments alone, Warren. Hold on, Warren.
How many years ago?
Warren, hold on.
Like at least 10 years ago, something like that.
But hold on, Warren. You've got freaking right here. You've got Aaron. He says, bullshit. If my kid died and someone said that to me, idea way. So what the fuck? Okay, show me the money and I will. See, that's what Warren was telling you. Not everybody's going to think like you're thinking. Because you think that way doesn't mean everybody else thinks with your brain.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason, to put him on the court for that. But I mean, I just point out. I mean, like, he's not wrong for thinking. It's just his opinion. I mean, but the point is like you said, not everybody's going to think that way. So, I mean,
you don't even $100,000 is nothing, and it's an insult to say, well, you're calling me a liar, and I'm going to take the money from someone that's calling me a liar.
Maybe they're not calling you a liar. Okay, you've had a lot of false flags that nobody's died, and you've had false flag where people died. So if you got a false flag,
can you link? What's the website to these people? I want to see it real quick.
Oh, well, go.
Screen Actors Guild, man.
No, Warren.
Actors Guild. Look that up on Google.
Warren, you got.
Look this up, and they have a
I gotta take Warren out.
They hire out crisis actors. They'll even tell you on the page. They hire out crisis actors to government organizations.
Oh, he asked where to go, Warren. You're going around what he asked. I'll tell you where you can go. You can go to 153news.net. When you get there, look for Conspiracy Granny or Cythorn. They're the ones who have the website up. Leave them a comment. They will leave you the link to it. They're the ones that have the money.
Yeah, he's got unmuted.
I just unmuted you because I was trying to tell him where when you went into the crisis actors.
I wasn't saying anything.
Well, yeah, you wasn't after I said.
All right, here's
Go ahead.
All right, here's my second devil's advocate thing. All right, you know the link that you posted about like how these companies are burning clothes or they're destroying brand name clothes instead of giving it to charity, right?
I've already seen that. I worked at a store that did it.
You remember that, Bill?
I know that. And if you say it's not happening, you can play devil's advocate all you want, but you know what you're really doing?
I play devil's advocate.
But when you play devil's advocate, you know what you're doing? But you know why you play devil's advocate? The reason you play devil's advocate is so that you can keep the truth suppressed. So that people walk away confused, not knowing what the truth is. That's the whole reason anybody plays devil's advocate. So if you don't want the truth, don't bother calling in.
I don't think you're being fair.
No, not being fair. Not being fair is when somebody can show stuff and you don't go look for yourself and you just want to play devil's advocate. Devil's advocate's not about being fair. Smearing the truth isn't about being fair. So, okay, nobody died at 9/11 because I'm playing devil's advocate. So I know nobody died at 9/11, okay, because I'm going to play devil's advocate. You know how lame that is?
Well, your co-host Warren agrees with me that I'm completely in the right, and I'm being okay with how I'm asking these questions.
I mean, like, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with your point of view on it completely, but I don't think you're being disrespectful. I mean, so I don't see the point.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I gave him what most devil's advocates do. Where do you think devil's advocate came from?
I'm not attacking you as a person.
Well, I'm not attacking you. I'm telling you where devil's advocate came from. Okay, so when you come on and you want to say, I want to play devil's advocate, so if you know, if something happened and you come on when something happened and said, but I want to play devil's advocate because this is a game. Because that's what that turns it into.
No, because I'll tell you why. Because I agree and respect a lot of your viewpoints. So if I don't agree with one, it's okay for me to express the reason why. And you know what? You might be able to convince me that I'm wrong. And I'm open to that. Like, I'm open to being convinced that I'm wrong. I'm not saying, oh, I'm right and you're wrong. I'm saying this is my viewpoint. It's not even to say that you're wrong and I'm right. It's to say this is my opinion and this is your opinion.
Well, yeah, okay. But do you go look into anything before you give your opinion? Or do you just give your opinion without looking?
Well, no, because I've watched your program for years, so you know that I agree with some things and I disagree with some things. It's like a muscle. If you work out and you work your muscle out and it hurts, you don't get pissed off because your muscle hurts. You're like, oh, that's cool. I'm building my muscle. Yeah, it hurts, but I'm growing. So that's the same thing with me and you. We're like metal that's sharpening itself against each other, and we're getting stronger because we're able to, bring up good points. Now, the whole point with the whole clothing thing, are you ready to hear what my opinion on it is?
Well, go ahead.
Of why I think that they do it? Well, name brands are much, much more than the clothing itself. It's much more than the material itself. They make the shit in China for nothing. You know, a shirt like an armor. Let's give an example, like an armor shirt. They sell for $30. They make for like $3, right? Now, if they just sold that shit without the armor logo, it really would only be worth $5 or $6 in the U.S. So the whole value is not the shirt; it's actually the name brand. So if they gave those shirts out to Africa and all the homeless people, you'd see it on the TV. All these homeless people that aren't educated, that don't have a lot of money, that are poor, wearing armor shirts, or you turn on the TV to Africa and you see these poor Africans with shirts. Now, me and you say, well, that's humanity. I would rather take care of someone that's hungry and that needs clothes than just to throw it away. That's how me and you think. But as a business, you're like, well, I got a business to run, and the name is more precious than the clothing or anything. It's my profit. So I'm only going to sell that shirt for $50. If I compromise myself and give them away, then it's going to devalue the name armor.
Well, I can understand your point about the clothing. Okay, I can understand your point about the clothing. Okay, but it still comes back to the one thing is this. Regardless if we just take just the clothing out of the list of the things they destroy, all the food that we throw away, there's no excuse for that. You say, well, because I'm losing money on it. Oh, okay, you're losing money on it. So at the end of the year, when you write it off for your taxes and you get all that money back, you really lost money on that, huh?
They've actually destroyed strawberry. There's been strawberry farms. We'll go around with a hoe and destroy strawberries because there's too many of them out there, and it would lower the price of them too much. So they'll literally destroy food.
Right, for greed.
To bring less.
Right, for greed.
That again is communism coming, because that's what they do in communism.
That's right.
They control the production of how much and what product gets shipped. It's all. And it's funny, they say they're like all about being supposedly classless, but I mean, all it is a big monopoly of the government on resources.
It's all about greed.
They do that with drugs. They do that thing.
Right, but it's still greed.
You know.
So how do you get around that? It's still greed. And the two things that absolutely corrupt is power and greed.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, Bill. Like, that even trickles down to small businesses, because if I can be a little bit greedy and be making $100,000 a year, or be making only $20,000 and scraping and scraping, I'd rather be making $100,000.
Well, yeah,
And I'd rather
but
be
wrong.
able to take.
Okay, but still, a wrong is a wrong. You know, as long as people are hooked up on the tool that keeps you enslaved, you'll always be a slave.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, we need to do away with the money system. I know it's not going to happen. I mean, it's never going to happen. But ideally speaking, we probably do need to go away with the money system. We need to go with big governments overall and big centralized governments and go back to small communities that are based on trade. I mean, that's not going to happen, but that's what needs to happen. You know, I mean, and I think, here's the thing. Theoretically, it will happen at some point. Hear me out here. Empires go through a cycle, right? He's going to have to collapse before he gets back to that point. The elites want to build a new, even more tyrannical system out of those ashes. They call it the Phoenix rising from the ashes. You know, order out of chaos. You know, we're not going to be able to protect, really fix our society in any kind of way until it does collapse. So I guess in a way, even though the elites have kind of put us there in this position where we're in that way now, we're on the same page at this point as far as wanting the system to collapse. It's where we differ and what we do from there. That's what, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of the way I'm seeing it, man. Because we're not going to be able to fix this shit until it does collapse. We're going to have to go through hell to get to heaven, so to speak. You know? That's the only way, bro, at this point. I mean, it's too far gone. I mean, you know, the whole framework of the modern Western society is just, it's so far out of whack with reality. It's just so far in Looney Tune land, it can't be saved. We're so far removed from reality. We can't be saved.
That's it. I agree with that. We are.
Trump.
Well, you know, I don't buy into the politics as far as Donald Trump goes, or as far as George Bush goes, or as far as Obama goes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all because you didn't pick them. You think criminals are going to pick some good guy to run your world? The president don't run nothing anyhow.
Well,
the president's just a figurehead, a puppet. He has no say-so.
The elite didn't want Donald Trump.
No, that's a stage show.
Donald Trump to be president.
That's a stage show.
Well, why haven't they taken him out? Why haven't they assassinated him?
He's a Freemason, but most people don't realize that. Donald Trump is a Mason. Donald Trump is part of the establishment. And anybody that thinks Russia, and when you think Russia was hacking the election, yeah, and when you think Russia was hacking the election, that's all a stage show. That's all propaganda. It's all lies. There ain't no truth to any of that.
Why are they trying so hard to get him impeached then?
They're not. That's a stage show.
It's a stage show.
You can go watch days. You can watch Days of My Life on TV and get the same results.
Remember, they tried to impeach Bill Clinton for a blowjob in the Oval Office too.
You turn on the TV and the TV tells
the TV lies to you every day.
It's the opposite.
The TV lies to you every day.
Intelligence, bro.
Yes.
You know, it's the same way. That's the same way all the gurus in the truth movement operate, man. You know, it's like they control the opposition. I mean, you know, they give you figureheads to follow, leaders to follow to control the opposition. That way, the establishment is still in control of all the opposition. You know,
it's a big psyop. It's a stage show.
They pay for all. Now let me ask you something. In Florida, when Donald Trump was running for just the Republican primary, the banks and corporations spent over $100 million in negative campaign ads here against him. Why would banks and corporations do that if he was an elite?
Well, hold on.
He was,
when you have the powers to be who own the money system, who print it out of thin air, okay, who can just print up all the money they want and throw it around anytime they want, they don't care how much they throw into this stage show. It's nothing to them.
Yeah, they wanted Bush or Hillary in.
No, they did not. That was a stage show. Hillary is Donald Trump's cousin.
I'm no fan of the Democrats. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not sticking up for them. However, if we're going by the popular vote, playing devil's advocate, you know, I mean, and believe me, I I'd far rather have Donald Trump than have some social justice warrior like Hillary Clinton. But no, at the end of the day, playing devil's advocate, Hillary got the popular vote, and who got Donald Trump got the electoral vote. That's what got him into office.
Which is the way
I'm just being honest.
They did that for states. They did that for states' rights. They didn't want a state like California to end up saying who was president every single time.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on a second, guys. I have another caller. You might pause the show there. Jerry, pause the show. Jerry's in the show.
Hello, am I here?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Well, I think some people are confused here about Donald Trump. I want to ask the caller why Ivanka Trump won the title Miss Mason.
Miss Mason.
Miss Mason. She won a couple of years back. She won the title of Miss Mason. So in other words, to be a contestant, your father has to be a master mason, and then you can enter the contest. Well, she won the contest, so that would make her father at least a master mason, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Okay. So master mason. Go ahead, sir.
What's your sources?
What's my source? Look, go to the Mason magazine. Look back. I believe it was in 2007. All right.
Okay.
And so he's a well-known Mason. It's not just that he's a Mason; he's a well-known Mason. Which there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of good Masons out there. Okay. But people forget how involved his family is in the deep state. The day that Nikola Tesla died, the FBI, at the time of its just founding, called in a MIT professor. That MIT professor, his name was John Trump. It's the same uncle.
I'm going to tell you the truth when it comes to the Masons. I'm going to tell you how it is. It's a lot like it is in the military, man. There's different levels of right. Your porch levels at the bottom are filled with a lot of useful idiots that might mean well. They're not necessarily bad people, but they're being used. And they're heavily brainwashed, and you can't tell them that they're being used. The higher echelons are all corrupt and filthy and dirty as hell. As a matter of fact, but once you get at a certain point, they won't let you go any further, and they'll pre-select you to make sure that you toe the line and go along with all their agendas and shit. If you're not going to go along with the game plan, they're not going to let you. They're not going to let you move forward in their organization at a certain point. That's what you call the 33rd degree. You're officially no.
Well, what's funny is I was talking with a friend tonight, and they happen to be from the Bronx, right? And it's funny how, like, anybody from the New York City area, all right, that, we grew up watching Donald Trump on the, Entertainment Tonight and all his scandalous affairs and all this and that, and all the stories about who he had, buried down in the Meadowlands, how the Russian mafia kills people for him. Everybody that lives around the area, like around New York, knows who the real Donald Trump is. And he could be a nice guy out there in the public, but that doesn't mean he's not a gangster that has people whacked. I mean, in some cases, a lot of these gangsters actually make good politicians. But, it's not a hidden thing that Donald Trump was a slumlord and he was a mob boss. It's not a secret. And then these people think he's going to save them from the Illuminati. And, his family has been involved in the deep state for years. And I'm not talking 10 years, 20 years, for literally decades and decades. And as deep as the deep state gets. And not only that, is his whole university, Trump University, is based on Scientology. Betsy DeVos, his education advisor, is part of the Amway company. The Amway company is literally part of the Scientology and the MK Ultra program. Her brother is Eric Prince of Blackwater. All right. Then you have Linda McMahon, who's also on his cabinet, who is, the McMahon from the wrestling's wife, who was a representative of the area where Sandy Hook shooting. So she was involved in the Sandy Hook shooting too. So he's involved in all the stuff that they're pretending to make it look like he's not. and that he's supposedly fighting. No, he's not fighting this stuff. It's a stage show, just like Warren said. It's a continuous stage show, and most people are just not smart enough to figure it out.
Exactly.
And even if they impeached him, it would be part of the show. It wouldn't be like they're trying to get him. It would be part of the show because they have an agenda to go along, and his part being played, would have went along with that part being. It's just like Monica Lewinsky. She was a Rhodes Scholar, just like Bill Clinton. We know Bill Clinton raped many women and this and that, but we know for a fact that the whole Monica Lewinsky thing was a cover stage show to get people's eyes away from the other crap and Whitewater. And people are just not smart enough to understand that even if they do impeach or they do something like this, it's all part of the show. People got to understand the presidency is just a puppet show.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, if it was all set up, then Hillary Clinton would be president right now.
No,
because there's no one more. There's no one more establishment.
I know.
Don't you
understand the dialectic of good cop, bad cop, man? Let me explain how this works here. Let me explain. Donald Trump, very, very well, even on that level. With the amount of money, he's got more money than any president ever in the history of the U.S. He could be just as much of a candidate as Hillary is, man. Now, here's the thing about that, man. It's good cop, bad cop, man, right?
Hold on, Jerry, go ahead.
Well, I got.
Hey, believe it or not, you got to think about this. Anybody that's so dumb to think that Trump's not at the highest level of Mason, Trump's a high-level Mason. Look at the fact he's a builder, all right, in New York City, where they've had, the Masonics found that city, and he has one of the biggest buildings in New York City. He does all the building for apartment buildings in New York City. To get anything done, in New York City, he has to go through the Masons. So of course he's a Mason. He's a builder. What do you think a builder is? A Mason. The guy wants to build a wall. What do Masons do? They build walls.
You're just not bringing it back to the table. You're talking about he said.
You don't understand this is a show. I mean, because you're not awake.
And that you live in New York, and everybody knows that he's part of the mafia, and that he owns buildings, and he has people with the Russian mafia hitting people off. You just don't bring up. I'm supposed to go back to 1976 and look up some kind of magazine to prove that Ivanka Trump won Miss Mason.
Well, listen. You
don't have to go that far.
Idiot. You don't have to even go that far. How am I an idiot? I'm just.
Why don't you just talk about policy?
Listen, you know for a fact that you're just crying because you're not awake. Listen. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You got brainwashed. You got brainwashed. Your mother didn't love you. Your mother didn't love you.
Listen,
there's no need to get a name call over a disagreement, man. I mean, we can disagree like adults here.
Well, no, you're right. You're right. But you know what? We got to. Somebody's going to be ignorant. If you're going to be ignorant, I'm going to tell you. Huh? You got to remember, where does Hillary Clinton live? You're telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. I can tell you. Tell me where Hillary Clinton lives. Tell me where Donald Trump lives. Why don't you give me their addresses?
You bring up theories.
No. Okay, wait a second. You know all the facts, then I want you to tell me some facts. I'm asking you questions. Who's Donald Trump's daughter's best friend?
It doesn't give a fuck.
It's Chelsea.
Who cares? No, she's not. No, she's not.
Yes, she
there
is.
There are acquaintances, but who said?
There are acquaintances. Who said it? That's children. You can look at it.
How do you know? Or is that what the media tells you? Did you see that on the news?
No. You can ask them. They have
Google it. You want me to Google it?
You can.
Yeah. You want me to Google it?
They're kissing each other. Google it right now.
You want me to see what fake news said about Hillary Clinton?
No,
you said ask me to Google it. You asked me to look at an ABC.
Find it in Google.
I know there are acquaintances. I know there are acquaintances done. It proves that they're best friends. Just because ABC says it doesn't mean it's true.
They tell you they're best friends.
Is you're saying that not going about fake news. No, you are. You're telling me to look at fucking Google.
Why don't you go to something that she's written?
Policy. What policies has Donald Trump? What policies has Donald Trump?
You don't get it to show. You're never going to get it to show.
If you laugh, you're just doing fillers.
You're never going to get
fillers with laugh.
Hey,
no, you're not going to get it.
How did you wake up? I want to know what experience you went through to wake up.
Define wake up.
Yeah, but when a person's awake, I mean, we're all here. This is a show.
How did you find out about the global agenda or the New World Order? That's what he's asking.
Yeah. How did you wake up?
My fucking father was talking about it in the 80s.
Talking about what?
In the 80s.
What was he talking about?
He would read the newspaper and he would just say how the government's after us and that they're spying on us and a whole bunch of shit. And that's how I got involved.
Yeah, how did you wake up? Everybody goes through a wake up.
And then
I want to know what woke you up.
Not being born again, huh? No, it's just common sense.
No, it has nothing to do with religion. No, it has nothing to do with religion.
The world's run by money, and that's no secret.
He's not
awake.
The
world's run by money.
Hey, listen. I don't hear you talk anymore because you're not awake. So you're not going to understand anything we talk about. Do you understand that?
Okay, well, you tell me.
It's not your fault. You're not awake. So we don't need to talk to you anymore. Bill, just turn him off because he's not awake. No matter what we say, he's not going to understand it because he's not awake. And it's not his fault. We shouldn't be mean because he's just not awake.
That's correct. That's correct.
You know, it's just a simple fact. Huh?
That is correct. He's not awake.
He's not awake.
Yeah,
he already told us. Yeah, he's not awake. So, I mean, no matter what, I think Warren and we all know that, you know, no matter how much we yell and scream and, you know, we're just going to end up making fun of him because he's not awake. And it's not his fault he's not awake.
I'm not making fun of the guy. I mean, I think he means well, man. He's awake to a certain extent.
What, level 1?
He's got a lot to learn. I mean,
he's like at level 1?
You know, hey, that's not awake. I mean, he's not even close to awake. I mean, you know, there's people that understand there's things that aren't right, but I think we all know that there's pretty much everybody goes through an awakening experience, something that clicks with them. And that guy obviously has never been through anything. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. And you want to know what? For people like him, I almost believe, you know, the conversation I was having with a friend earlier tonight is, you know, I think for some people it's better that they don't wake up because they mentally can't handle it. And,
I won't
you know,
I don't know the guy's personal life. I won't say he hasn't been through anything. Look, there are some people, man, out there, and I'm not saying this is necessarily going to be this guy. I mean, but there are people out there, man, who come from crushing hardships, man, and you'd think that at some point that they start to learn and start to ask, well, why is this happening to me? Some people never do, man. A lot of people out there just become more rigid and set in their ways. You know, you tell a lot about a person by how they adapt to hardship. You can see what people are really made of.
I think in some cases it's more or less some kind of self-protection mode that the brain goes in. And I honestly believe, I don't think being awake is for everybody. I think some people, you know, they just emotionally couldn't handle it, so their brain's not allowing them to handle it.
Well, you know, Jerry, Warren,
and that's something I believe.
Yeah, Warren, Jerry, and I was talking about this tonight before the show, and I happen to agree totally. Okay, because there are people that they can't handle being awake, and when they, you know, and some of the time waking up isn't easy, because when you have to wake up, you're you start realizing that everything you ever learned, the majority of it's all been a lie, your whole life. You know how hard that hits a person? No way could I be lied to my whole life.
Everything, our entire society, they're raised on a pack of lies. Everything they've been taught from the time they were children has been a big fucking pack of lies. I mean, you got to start all the way over from ground zero and re-educate yourself about everything that you thought you knew.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It's like, Warren, I'm sure, I think you might have watched some of Zach's stuff before, but, you know, sometimes I'm careful to tell people to watch Zach's stuff just because I get nervous whether or not there's somebody that can handle it. I mean, you can handle it, you understand it, but there's some people out there I don't think can handle it. So it's, you know, I even get scared sometimes because just imagine somebody that's just woken up, and then all of a sudden they see Zach's channel. That could scare them a little bit. Oh shit!
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, stuff like that usually, I mean, that's for more advanced truth seekers, and usually they're not going to stumble on something like that because they're not going to be able to understand it. Maybe they'll get there eventually if they go through the proper stages. But it's kind of like let's say if I'm going in to learn algebra, right, and I can barely handle like pre-algebra. I'm just going to learn pre-algebra, right? Someone throws a geometry book down on me, right? I'm going to look in there. It's going to like gibberish to me, so I'm not going to see any value in it. So I'm not going to really study it. Now, maybe if I eventually learn pre-algebra, then I'll learn algebra, then algebra 2, and everything building up to it, I might eventually come back to that geometry book, and now I understand it,
Well, it took me a long time, even with Zach's work. I mean, when I first watched it, I was like, what the hell is this crazy crap? And then I came back to it, right? And I watched it. I was like, holy shit, it's really that bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Brandon, we all go through a process, but
yep.
If you're still thinking that there's Hillary Clinton, if you're still thinking George Soros is going to go to jail and they got 1,800 indictments out, and there's Putin's throwing out the Rothschilds and all that crap, if you're still stuck on that, I mean, that's scary because people really, I wish it wasn't as much of a show as it was, but we're even learning just what came out of the Presidio. I don't know if you ever got into the Presidio in San Francisco and all the experiments that went on behind the Presidio and how that trickled into. Presidio was a Air Force base right outside of San Francisco, right under the Golden Gate Bridge. And that's where Michael Aquino was running a lot of his PSYOP programs. It was the PSYOP headquarters at one time back in the day when they were doing all their worst stuff. And, and that's where it's got proven in court. It has proven child satanic ritual abuse going on there. But the programs never stop. And once you learn how they are the ones that created the Silicon Valley, and they created the whole Burning Man experience, and how they're still using that as a MK Ultra type of experiment. I mean, it gets scary on how much stuff is actually staged and under control of our military operations. We're finding out more and more every day that NASA is behind many of these mass mind control experiments. It
runs into the paradox of here's the thing, right? And this is why I come across quite often when I'm trying to wake people up with this stuff is they'll always tell me, okay, well, what do you want to replace this system with? Well, here's the thing. I mean, I don't know how to answer that because, like, I'm facing the paradox. On one hand, yes, we need a system that I can tell that it's easy to run society by. You could run a society by. But at the same time, almost any system you create, they're going to try to hijack and corrupt it. I mean, the only thing I'm left with is keeping small communities. And that's not that's not foolproof, but at least you can filter the corruption out a little bit easier.
Well,
I mean, you can't expect a utopia because every time people try to aim for a utopia, they end up with communism.
Well, that's what I try to tell when I moved way up here in Maine, and we're so far away from the rest of the country, we don't have all the bullshit. And people are like, oh, there's nothing to do here and this and that. I try to explain to them, you don't understand. This is a good thing. It's good that we don't have a McDonald's that's open 24 hours a day. It's good that we don't have all this crap. I know it's boring, but, I mean, I noticed that, there's not as many divorced families. The kids behave better because, it's such a small community. They'll know the neighbor will call their parents on them or whatever. And the family unit is stronger here. And everybody knows everybody, and everybody, you go to the grocery store, everybody's playing jokes inside the grocery store, and, it's a small community, but they don't see, because, they see it turn on the TV, and they think, oh, this excitement's happening in the big city or in the rest of the country, but they don't see the bad side of it. They only say, oh, look, I can have this whenever I want, I can have, I can go to the store all night long, and, people don't realize that we are kind of in a utopia as a small, closed-off community. It's not perfect, but, I can, it's funny, I can go down to the store, and in the winter, it's so cold here, I take my dog, Lizzie, and I can leave the car running. And you know what? I parked it in the, in the parking lot of the store or whatever, there's 10 other cars running.
And here's the thing.
You know, you don't have to worry about the car being stolen.
Well, I know what Jerry's talking about.
Hypothetically.
Hold on, Warren. I know. Hold on, Warren. Warren, hold on. I wanted to answer Jerry. I wanted to talk about what Jerry was talking about. I lived in Florida. I lived in big areas. And where I'm at now is a lot like where Jerry's at. I got no stoplights in my town. My town is small. We have one little grocery store, one little hardware store, a couple of gas stations, and that's about it. Okay, and there's nothing open 24 hours a day. I'd have to leave town. But you know what? I like it here. I like it here. The people here are friendly. Everybody knows everybody. It's just like where Jerry's at. Everybody's friendly. Everybody knows everybody. And you don't have all of that, what you have in the big city going on.
But these ideas can be taught to the rest of the country. These way of doing things within the computer and within the community. Whenever there's, if your local high school needs a new, baseball diamond or something, they should call on the community to come and all pitch in and build it versus getting these grants from the government that want you to do other crap and be involved in other crap, and then you're on the hook to the government.
Yeah, exactly.
If everybody in the community chipped in, they would find that, hey, look, I met my neighbor, we swung a shovel together, next thing you know, we're having backyard picnics together, and, that's the way to build a community. So, even in bigger cities or bigger towns, each areas have neighborhoods, and what we need to do is somehow teach these communities to have neighborhood pride. Even if it's a competition against one neighborhood against another. Hey, we're gonna have a potato sack race, or we're gonna, in the city, we're gonna have we're gonna have a bicycle race or something. There's a way that we can teach these ideas to the rest of the country instead of allowing the federal government to come in and dictate how these communities are going to work, because
that's it.
Government comes in, it's a problem.
Well, that's it. Zachary. Hold on. Did you even read the chat, Warren? Because Zachary was been listening to the show, and Zach answers about
I see him in there.
Yeah, NASA is the military. The military controls everything. That is true. The military is controlling everything.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to get at too, that answer what Jerry was saying, Matt, is this: even if which I do think this is the best option we have, but it's still, like I said, it's still not foolproof, because, like, let's say, even if we go down to small communities, we're going to have to deal with the fact that once the population builds up so much, we'll have a way to defend the herd to keep it small without killing people. I think the way they used to do that in old tribal days is they would marry their daughters off, to friendly tribes or other tribes and things like that. I believe that's how it works. I don't know. I have to look more into that. But but the thing about that is like, say, for example, there's still going to be, like, other tribes that are going to be, like, hostile, other communities that would be hostile towards us, which means we still have to defend ourselves. There would still be wars, and those who aren't worried about so much as maintaining their freedom and are willing to, build a monopoly of force, will have an advantage when it comes to strength and might. So that would be another predicament you have to face. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that goes into answering this age-old question that I was talking with a friend tonight. I think Warren might have an interesting answer for this. Can you have good without evil? Because if there's nothing to compare good to, would that good actually be evil? That's an age-old philosophical question, but it's a tough question. Can we have good without evil?
I think that would be that's a hard question.
Yeah.
And I think it comes to a point is, what kind of evil can we live with to have a fulfilling and great society? Because I'm not saying evil, but where are our standards? Because eventually, if there's no evil, the good would just end up turning to evil because there would be no indifference.
and it would
Exactly.
and it would destroy individuality. But there also has to be a balance to the evil, and can't we get this evil to the point where it's not, intentionally killing things, where it's
Yeah, I
not
mean that's how
intentionally
I
poisoning things?
the paradox we have here in Western culture, man. Where because people were raised in a very comfortable, very easy. I mean, compared to all other part of the world, very pampered lifestyle. People become softer and more docile and complacent, and they don't care as much. They're not, they're just like, they all they're on about is their Facebook and their Twitter and their Instagram, and they don't give a shit about anything. So
Well, that goes back into, is technology the biggest evil we have to face right now? I mean, if you look into all kinds of words they use for technology, a gateway, the LOL, lots of Lucifer, or or Lord of Lucifer, or whatever it is. And,
I would
these
say
are all.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, technology is the true evilness and danger we have in society right now. More and more, I
It
think, more
really
than
is
almost
because
anything.
what it is a changing of the priesthoods, man. Right? Every age they're given a dominant religion, right? Age and Freemasonic terms is 2,160 years. It's a stage in their plan. We're at the end of the age of Pisces, which is the age of Christianity. We're going into the age of Aquarius, which is the new age of the scientific dictatorship. Right? Science is becoming the new priesthood. And that's going to be the most dangerous priest out of all, and I'll tell you why. It's going to be more dangerous because as much as the horrible things that happen under the name of the Christian priesthood or the Muslim priesthood or whatever other priesthood you want to talk about, the Jewish priesthood, whatever, they've done a lot of bad things, but they haven't been able to fundamentally alter the very nature of humanity.
And well, I mean, I look at it like this: is, I mean, when you got like people like Ray Kurzweil and all that working at the top of Google. I think they're trying to create their God, but they're creating their God through the computer, through technology. Because if they want to be like God, they can be closest to being like God by creating a God, the God of technology. Technology in its own self. So, it gets, how do we go into the future with technology, and we know technology is evil? Every step that we go into the future with technology, and we knowing technology is evil, we're following evil. But can we go into a world totally kicking out technology totally? And
I don't think technology in and of itself is evil. Technology is neutral. It's like a gun, a loaded gun, right? The gun itself is neither good nor bad. It's the person who's wielding the gun makes it good or bad.
Well, how do we take over the technology from the bad people? Because that's just like trying to take over the
That's
politics.
the question. That's the question.
Yeah.
Without a system of coercive labor to get the men to work away for the food, what would be the foundation for developing these advances?
Yeah, and I mean, it's almost impossible even to ponder, because me and Bill. I mean, how many times do we ask, what can we do to change the world? What can we do to do something? And when you're looking at the political arena, how do we overthrow, a political arena or political government when we know that that's just a show? So we can't even get people to understand that what we see in politics is just a show. We can't even get people to understand that. So how are we going to get them to even understand who we really have to go after?
That's
so
it.
How do we change that? And then these same people are the same people behind technology that still need to be overthrown. It's how do we get to a peaceful, planet? How do we get to a peaceful Earth and continue to go along with the things that keep on serving us? And what they're serving us is not just, the technology that we use in our house and everything. They're creating a space fence and electrifying the sky and ionizing it so they can use the sky as part of their technology. People think that, they're going to continue to use wireless, by having a router in their house. No, they're turning the sky into technology. So pretty soon you're just going to walk around and have Wi-Fi. And it won't be Wi-Fi, but it'll be a new technology that you're just going to have everywhere. And people don't understand that this is where they're going with this stuff. The Tesla technology is here. It's always been here, but now they're looking like they're mastering it. And we're going to move into an age where the actual air
is out there and a part of technology, we're being consumed by it. So can we go along with this and have any good? Or is it going to be just a point where even the air is electrified and is,
the way it's headed right now, man, like I said, it threatens to alter the very nature of humanity as we know it. I mean, we're looking at a future where people will become slaves to technology in the worst ways imaginable, where people are going to literally be prisoners in their own body and mind. And yet they're going to be brainwashed to think that this is a good thing. Oh, they're keeping us safe, and
Yeah.
So it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's we need to have, I think, some of the advances that we have made as human beings, but we also have to slow down our pace. As much as they try and threaten that we're being attacked by aliens and everything else. Well, here's the thing. If we're going to be attacked by aliens, they obviously have technology to get here. So they're obviously going to win no matter what we do, and we're never going to catch up to them. So that's all bullshit. Throw that out the door. So should we maybe think about pausing technology to a certain extent, and maybe develop some kind of structure so that that only technology that's advanced is for the benefit of man.
People weren't meant to advance as fast as they have in the past couple of 100 years, man. And people subconsciously can't even keep up with it. That's why nobody understands science and shit that they have. I mean, because look how much we've advanced in the last 200 years. That's more than all the rest of history combined.
Well, let's mess
people
over.
Even just past 60 years.
Well, you know what?
That's part of Moore's law.
But you know what? The advancement's done a lot of good, hasn't it? Now you got a room full of people all staring at their phones, typing to each other rather than socializing. Now you don't even know who your neighbor is.
Yeah, I mean, just think about I know when I was a kid, I can remember, riding our bikes and, finding a log and a piece of wood and using it to jump over. When's the last time you've seen kids doing stuff like that? You rarely see them even doing that kind of stuff anymore. You rarely, see one of the neighbors chasing the kids out of the woods because they set a fire in the woods or something like that. I mean, I remember having some fun when I was a kid, and I remember my parents yelling at us when we came in the house. What are you doing? It's nice outside. Get outside. And now they just sit inside and sit there with their brains just streaming into this, these computer games that all they do is show you, all right, you get points when you kill that guy. You get points when you steal that car. You get points when you rape that hooker. I mean, that's how they're learning. I mean, setting fires and jumping over logs and breaking your leg, I think is better than going around earning points on killing people. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Back in the
Mm-hmm.
day too. I remember back before. I mean, there was a time when it was when kids they didn't have all these million different video games. They weren't glued to an Xbox. All day, every day, the way they are now. I mean, there was a time when kids had to use their imagination a little more. They'd go out there and they play like cops and robbers or something. When they were young little boys, or they'd go out there and they'd wrestle or something. And
you're right about that. Yeah, it's imagination because that's why they can't think for themselves nowadays, and that's why they don't understand the show because all they've been programmed is to the show.
We've raised a generation, especially when it comes to our men. We've raised a generation of people who are either too weak or too stupid to be able to function.
Well, we got that,
We have.
Look at our caller tonight, okay? Our caller was Brandon Kirk, okay? Who is on our chat right now is Rubber Wilbur. That is Brandon Kirk, okay? But our caller trolled me for 6-7 years, and then he stopped. And I gave him respect for stopping trolling. But the guy's asleep. When he comes in the show, he wants to play devil's advocate. He does not understand that a devil's advocate's job, the only reason they ever had a devil's advocate to begin with, was to keep the truth suppressed, to keep people confused. Yeah. So I don't like it.
Listen, I don't mean.
I'll say this.
But listen, he's just not awake. It's not his fault. It's not as
Yeah.
fun.
I'll say this about the devil's advocate thing. I'll say this. It depends on what they're doing. If they're doing it to honestly make a logical point, then okay, I'll hear their point out. If they're just doing it to be subversive, that's a different
Yeah. No,
game
I think
altogether.
he's just not. I think he's not. He's just not awake. And you know what? Sometimes I go off on awake people. It's not. It's not my fault. I just, sometimes I just get tired of just the pettiness, and it's like, I gotta, what I need to do is I need to draw a difference between awake people and stupid people. Because just because they're not awake doesn't mean that they're necessarily stupid. It just means they're not awake. And to me, sometimes I look at not awake people as just stupid because it's like, oh my god,
I
really?
don't think.
But it's not always their fault.
I don't think that Brandon is stupid by no means, at all. Okay.
He's just
I
not
don't
awake.
dislike him. I'm just saying I don't agree with the devil's advocate more than I would like to see him come on and, he could question something and then sit on a fence and go look for yourself. Then after you look for yourself, come back with an opinion. Don't tell somebody else to go
Oh
show
yeah,
you the
well,
facts if you're not going to go look for yourself.
no, well, that's it. Bill knows. I studied everything from Sumerian history to Phoenician history to Greek history to literally to the Eastern Urals to French history to you name it. So I studied it. So don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Pick a subject that I did study. Then tell me. If you want to talk about the history of Fiji, all right, well then I don't know shit about it, so I'm willing to listen to you. But when it comes to a lot of European and Middle Eastern and American history, I studied the shit out of it, and
Well,
I studied the real history, so
well,
I know what I'm talking
he
about.
was also
But
talking about
if
the
it's
hundred
something I
thousand
didn't
dollars.
study, that's a different
Yeah,
story.
he was also talking
I,
about the $100,000 when he first came on the show that Thor and Conspiracy Granny have
yeah,
up, and he says, "How do you know that money's really there?" And then he tried to use,
because they got a lawyer. It's
yeah,
legally contracted. You can call it up. You can talk to a lawyer, and it's there. They're waiting for somebody to meet their lawyer in court so they can hand them the $100,000. So
there's,
that's how you know it's there. But if you don't even make the phone call, don't say how do you know it's not there? Because
well, there's that
you
and the
obviously
fact,
didn't do the
he wa-
basic research.
he wanted to bring up, well, who's going to want $100,000 if you tell him their kid died? He believes people died. Well, I've got nothing against him
Well, here's the
believing
thing.
people died, but when somebody's asking for
Then
proof that
prove it.
somebody died, then he's thinking, well, people would be
Yeah.
offended by that.
So what? So what? You have every right to go down to the coroner's office and ask them for a copy of somebody's death certificate. Once somebody dies, that stuff is a matter of public public affairs.
It is. It's
So
public
you have
record.
a right to go to the Connecticut. You can go to the Connecticut State's medical office, and I can even tell you where it is. It's in Meriden, Connecticut, and you can go up I-95. You get on Route 9. You get off the second exit. You head north for about a quarter mile, and that's the Connecticut Medical Examiner's office. You can go in there, ask for a death certificate for whatever name that you have to fill out, whatever name that you're asking it for, and you pay whatever fee you have to get a copy of it, and you should be able to get a copy of it.
Exactly.
Well, if it's, if you're not willing to do those steps, then you can't say something doesn't exist. If you can't say that. If you're not even willing to just do those steps, because here's the thing: there's other people that have tried to do this and they can't get it because it doesn't exist. And not only that, just so people know and clear on the $100,000 reward, it's not cash; it's in gold and silver, and that's been verified. So not only you can really make out if gold goes up or silver goes up, you could even get more than $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Cypher and Granny put their life savings on this, and you know what? They wouldn't be doing it if they already know there's no proof to get it.
Yeah, I've got a caller here, or a typer here, a person typing in the box. Hickok says, speaking of money, I can't leave the state for the time being. Jerry, how can I send you some money for 12/14?
Oh, that'd be great. It's not super necessary. We do have enough money to go now. You know, and like I said, I'm not here for the money. I mean, if you do not donate some money, it will go for the next protest. So, you know, just so you know, I mean, we'd love to have your money because it can always help even for the next protest. But I do have enough money, you know, thanks to, you know, Zachary Hubbard and some of his fans and, you know, a few other people that everything's, it should be okay for the protest. More importantly than money is just sharing the information about the protest. But if you do want to send some money for the future protest, you can send me your email address and I can send you the PayPal link. My email is, I'll spell it out for you. It's JERRYZEN, the number one, just the number, at iCloud.com. Again, that's JERRYZEN, one, at iCloud.com, and just put your name in there and I'll respond to it. And again, like I said, we do have enough money for the protest. The extra money would be great because that would help give us a kickstart for the next protest, which, you know, we're shooting towards May for. But it's not super necessary. The most important thing is just getting the information out there. That's what I'd like more than anything, because that's not just, you know, that it helps get the information out there that it's happening, but it's for the people that are going, for our own safety, because the more people that know that it's happening, the less chance that we have of them harassing us. So, you know, that would be the best help.
That's it. Well, I think, you know, and I'm hoping that he
Yeah.
gets a few people there. Because, you know, that's one of the things I've discovered is really hard. Jerry's been struggling with this, and I would like to see people, Jerry knows this already. I would like to have a protest right up here in the state I'm in. I would like to see people all across the United States take and start doing this themselves. Because we've got to get out from behind the
Yeah,
computers. We got to do something. I mean, doing nothing, you can't get on a computer and keep making a video and think that's going to get you anywhere.
yeah. I mean, if you want to make a big change in your own local areas, what you want to do is you know, look up online and see if there's a U.S. Army Civilian Affairs Reserve Office or Psychological Command Reserve Office near you, and then call them up and ask them to not be involved in any false flag activities. You know, when they start to be aware that people understand how these things are going on, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for them to do it. You know, so things like that are the great help too. But, you know, I really appreciate any help. But like I said, you know, I think I got it covered. I hope I do. but yeah, you know, getting the information out there is great and all that stuff too. All right. Well, a few months and he'll be out here. That would be great too, because you know, we're talking like May. You know, because you know how the Illuminati likes to have their May 1st is their big holiday, the Satanic Ritual holiday, the Nazi holiday is all May 1st. So we thought of doing it on May 1st just to shove it in their face. You know.
Which actually is a pretty good idea.
Jerry, was that .com or .net for the email?
It was iCloud .com.
.com.
Yeah, so it's JERRYZEN1 at iCloud.com. I would type it in there, but since I've been kicked off of YouTube, I can't type it in there.
You want me to type it in there, Matt?
Yeah, you can type it in there because I got kicked off.
Jerry, JERRY, what is it again?
Zen, ZEN, the number one, at iCloud.com.
Yeah, YouTube has a sense of humor.
I go to leave Bill a comment today on one of his videos, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't.
Yeah.
I couldn't even like a video. I'm like, what? That's not fair.
Yeah.
There's something about YouTube and their sense of humor when it comes to truth. They have no humor.
Yeah,
you know.
Do you
well,
know,
you know,
how many
these
people
days
get
it's so
thrown
easily
off?
to piss people off because everybody's so fucking super sensitive about everything, man. Everything's so fucking sickeningly PC. I mean, Comedians, it's funny, but I'm not sure that's a stage act too. But comedians have even came forward now, and I mean, there have been some of them that have complained about because it's hard to be, especially like a stand-up comedian, without having to play these stupid fucking PC rules. And they're like, I don't know, like even like Seinfeld came out and said something. I know Seinfeld's probably a fucking. I mean, he's surely an agent too. I mean, I'm sure all of Hollywood. I mean, fucking, but yeah.
What were you saying there, Jerry?
Yeah.
Well, I was just asking Warren if he's noticed how many people, any of the good stuff that used to be on YouTube. You notice how you can't even find it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like it's all disappearing. It's all disappearing so fast. They changed it slow enough that I don't think a lot of people are going to notice it. But I mean, if people are just waking up now and starting to get into videos on YouTube, it kind of scares me a little bit because a lot of the videos out there that are popular or whatnot, they're giving truth and then they're misleading people so much. I actually am worried about the people that are just waking up now. That's why I'm like trying to pause people when they say, let's wake everybody up. I'm like, wait a second. We wake them up. And the first thing they're doing is they're going to be going right on to the programming out there that, they already took over and pushed all the good stuff out. So, what's going to happen there? That's a dangerous thing. And it scares me a little bit.
Yeah, man. I mean, information that I used to be able to find easy online back when I had debunked Alan Watt, found out that he had plagiarized Glenn Keely and all that stuff. All that information was out there on the forums and the web. It's all gone now, man. So now when I come there and I try to explain that to somebody, say, well, prove it. I go back and look for my proof. All my proof ain't there anymore, man. It used to be there. So now it's like I'm stuck with my hands up. I mean, well, I know I'm telling the truth, but I can't prove it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They had, because I saved a lot of my stuff, and I have like, I looked at my thing today. I have like over 7,000 screenshots. So I that's how I save stuff and I write down in a notebook. But I also had Wiki Notes, an app that I had like 1,500 pages saved. Well, they redid the Wiki Notes, and now you can't access it anymore. So all the pages I had saved, all the information I have, is gone, just wiped, gone. And how much is to remember over 1,500 pages of what I saved? Because I put them in order so I can understand why this thing in history led to that thing in history, because I put everything in order, and now it's gone. Thankfully, another thing I did, and people should do this when they wake up. I got some of these with what's called brain maps, and what you do is they're like little pods and nodes where you can put, like, let's say you're looking up the French Revolution. You can write down the French Revolution in one pod, and then you can put, in another pod, the Masons and how it connected with the French Revolution and, all these different things. And it can all stretch out, and then you can save it. So that way you have at least a chain of events that you can remember. And I did this stuff if I looked into some of my stuff, it's kind of insane how much stuff I saved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what he's talking about.
I mean,
I've got a lot of stuff saved myself.
Yeah,
I've got 2 external hard drives, and I got one almost completely full. And I have saved so much stuff. And sometimes, but the problem I had was I should have categories, put it in categories so I could find it easier.
Yeah.
But I didn't use my head about it. I just kept saving and saving with no categories.
I need to start downloading all my information onto like a disk or something, somewhere I can back it up on file. That way, if the information gets taken down, I still have a copy.
Yeah. I just opened up one of my things that has like, I have a whole bunch of them. This one just happened to have like 485 nodes. All right. So like one node is the American Nazi Party. And then the next node, and they all have notes within them, how it connects to Jack Benny and Fred Allen and Groucho Marx, and how it connects to the separatists and the World Union Free Enterprise and the white nationalism, and then all the white nationalists, like the Ziegfeld Theater and George Lincoln Rockwell and Boothbay, Maine. I mean, I literally could track all this stuff because I put it together. So matter of fact, I should have told this guy, how do I have evidence? Well, you know what? Here, you give me your email. I'll send you a whole chart of how this is all laid out. So how do I have evidence? Why? Because you know what? I actually did the responsible thing. When I looked up something, I actually made notes. You know, if you want to look like, I even have a note here for Yale Divinity School and information on Yale Divinity School and everything from, you know, the Social Science Research Council. I mean, you name it, you know, and, you know, all these things that you couldn't even imagine that I saved, you know. So don't say I don't know, because I actually did the homework. And not only did I do the homework, I charted the homework. You know, I mean, what's the use of looking something up if you're not, you know, I looked it up. Okay, you looked it up. Then what did you do with it? You know? So, you know, I have a lot of stuff here. You know, everything from, you know, the history of Berkeley to, you know, to Radcliffe to you name it. I have it on here. Sinn Féin, history of Sinn Féin.
You know what's crazy, Jerry, is you get all these people out there, they learn all this information. They get all this information, right? You think they've learned a lot about how awake they are, and you realize, man, without that information, they don't got a drop of knowledge, man. You know, they talk about how toxic the rest of society is, how brainwashed everybody else is, and yet they behave the same way they complain about everybody else acting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just look. I got one here with the Phi Beta Kappa Society and how it connects to Oliver Wendell Holmes and W.E. Boys and the NAACP and all these different things. If you, like you said, well, if you're doing it, everybody thinks that, you know, you read something, you have the knowledge. No, I mean, you know, we're not going to retain everything, so you need to do something to store this information. You know, I don't have the best storage processes, and a lot of my stuff is written down and scribbled on notebooks, which is horrible because I can barely read my writing because it's so horrible. But at least when, you know, what people don't understand is, like, you know, I learned something when I was in high school. You know, if I was worried about a test and I was going to cheat, I'd start writing little pieces of paper, something to hide in a pocket or something like that. And then when I went and took the test, I was realizing that I didn't need to look at that little piece of paper, because me writing those answers down to the test questions was making me learn those answers. So
here's the thing,
you know,
yep.
You know.
Here's the thing. Part of the journey, man, is as you learn, as your awareness of the world around you grows, you know, you got to be willing to conform to your new perception of the world, as you're learning, to new facts, to new ideas. Don't conform to the system. Don't conform to humanity. Conform to reality, man. You know, I mean, you got to make changes within yourself, man, as you learn. You know, a lot of people don't want to make changes within themselves. A lot of people in the truth movement will talk about, self-reflection. You got to make changes in yourself. But a lot of them, a lot of people out there, that's just a meaningless slogan. You know, it's just words. That's all it is, empty words. Very few people out there really take that to heart.
I gotta love this note I made. Satanic rituals to Aspen Institute to Chelsea Clinton.
Yeah, you know.
So I even charted Chelsea Clinton's MK Ultra programming. You know, every stuff I've forgotten about I've even done, but I'm happy. Now, if somebody asks me, you know, next time I'll probably return to this. If the guy asks me a question about, well, how do you know this or that? Well, you know, because I can tell you what page it's on because I put notes. you know, so it's, you know, so now we know that Chelsea Clinton's MK Ultra training was done via the Aspen Institute. Okay, so if that helps anybody. You know, and then the Chicago corruption, the Weather Underground. If people don't even know how Hillary Clinton was involved in the Communist Party, they need to research the Weather Underground. You know.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
CDs or DVD online in bulk. Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Hey,
you know the thing, man. You got to figure, man. When you think about how many different ideological forces have infiltrated and invaded the U.S. government, right? Because we know, the Nazis invaded the U.S. intelligence agencies. There goes that damn mouse. The Nazis invaded the U.S. intelligence agencies with Operation Paperclip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we have the communists that have infiltrated the U.S. government. So, I mean, we got the far right.
They were here before this. You got to remember, the biggest Nazi out there, it was Prescott Bush, because he got him going. He funded him. So, that Nazi thing was already behind it. And then if you're talking about Prescott Bush, you're talking about the Skull and Bones. So we can't really look at just Paperclip. We got to look at Skull and Bones, because they were kind of behind Nazis, the Nazism. So, we got to understand how that's, kind of even behind the Nazis, that undertone, that 322 behind the Nazis, that's something important too, I think. So, I don't think it's just that the Nazis, I think what happened a lot with the Nazis is the Nazis learned a lot of things, and when we brought them over, they just, they were still part of the same party, because the Skull and Bones was always Nazi.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, that's why one of the reasons I really love Jerry, because and what he says is correct. He goes and he digs deeper than what most people dig. And when he keeps digging, and what Jerry has said is so true. If you keep digging into something, you find more and more and more. The only sad thing is they're scrubbing, making it harder and harder to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, man. Well, I mean, it's just like in 1984. You got to keep up with your books. Because they keep trying to cover their trails, and you have to. All the information that keeps track of their details, is made illegal. So like the crime market of the future is peddling information. Peddling books.
Yeah. That's funny, man, because it's probably true, Warren. Is like, somebody wants a book on, some truth that they really buried, and some of these books might actually get expensive and be like, kind of almost illegal and taboo. Just books on basic history. That's true. That's kind of scary.
Well, that is actually truth. Because when they did away with books they don't want people knowing or burying and hiding, they're going to make it so it's illegal for you to get it. They're going to make it so it's punishable if you have it, because they don't want people knowing the truth.
And they've already got that to some degree. They've got stuff that's contraband literature. Some of this stuff you could argue that might be for the better, like if it's like stuff that incites terrorist activity or something like that. Okay, I can see. But I mean, some of it, of course, is just, are you sure it's contraband literature just because it's blowing a whistle on information that they don't like? I mean, I'm sure it's not all a call to violence. I mean, there's probably is stuff out there like that, though. But I mean, I can understand banning stuff that that's inciting violence. It's all about inciting violence and shit. I mean, but
it's a scary, scary world. Oh my God! I mean, my George Soros note is insane.
Yeah.
Well, that thing that that a Nazi no, the communist rules that I read at the beginning of the show, Warren.
Yeah.
Well, the guy that's on the show right now named Jerry, that's where I got it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't get it. I mean, I have other ones like that too. That's not a detailed one. If you look at like the American Communist Party, how it was formed in the United States, I mean, some of the things, a lot of the procedures that they've talked about for 80, 100 years basically follow along exactly what the Democrat Party has been doing over the years. And, what they'll do is they'll show some of the ideas aren't so bad, but they show you how they did it to become what they did. And it all makes sense. And it's really kind of scary, and then
here's my question to you, though, man.
Yeah.
Okay. We can see this within the counterculture figures going as far back as the 50s, where they all had like communist connections and stuff like that. Even Martin Luther King Jr. had and some people allege that John Lennon did. I mean, it's never really been confirmed nor denied. But here's my thing about that. At the same time, we're told that there's the old left and the new left, right? And the old liberals aren't like the new liberals. I mean, you heard that? I think
according to history, I think they were. I just don't think they realized that they were with the old left. You know, the old left. I think it was still part of their plan. You know, because they had to look like what they had to look like in the old left, so that people would take the side of it before they could start turning, and that was part of their whole process. So it's not that the old left was bad. I just don't think they realized what process they were a part of. If that makes any sense, no?
I agree.
You know, so I mean, yeah, I mean, even when I was young, growing up with a Democrat mother, I mean, I was left too because I thought a lot of the issues I talked about were, good, positive, issues, but I didn't realize the history enough to truly understand it. And now that I understand why the old left was like the old left, and even though the people that were in the old left don't understand it, I understand it. I understand that it was bad, but I also understand the right side and how they work with the left side. And, people don't understand that part of it. That part is still something that people can't accept. They can't accept that, that this is all, people forget.
People want to pick a team, man. Even a lot of counterculture figures of our society, they claim to be anti-authority, are really just anti one half of the authorities. Yeah. Usually, it's anti-Republican,
it's that was the design. It's always been that global. People don't realize that the Fabian School, the London School of Economics, is where Kennedy went to. Kennedy was a Fabian social. He was a Fabian socialist globalist. He was a globalist. The difference, I was talking about earlier tonight, the difference with Kennedy is he got to the point where he wanted to see globalism, ruled by one faction of the team that was going to get together and be the good globalist, and the rest of the evil people that wanted to control said hell no. They weren't going to have globalism the way Kennedy wanted it. And I think globalism the way Kennedy wanted it probably wouldn't have been bad. And that's what it comes down to, because people forget. He was at the top, pretty far at the top of the Knights of Columbus, which is part of the Catholic Church. So the Vatican and everybody else wouldn't have gave the permission to kill him or anything like that, unless they started thinking he was a threat. So that's that question.
I'm still up in the air. I'm still kind of up in the air about the whole Kennedy situation. Like, what to make of Kennedy, man? Because on one hand, he did blow the whistle on the secret societies and everything else. Like right before he popped them. On the other hand, he knew about this stuff long beforehand. He was in the Moose Society. His dad was very close friends with the Rockefellers.
He's a bloodline. They're bloodline families. They're a bloodline. The Kennedys are a bloodline family. He's no different than anything else. He was, he had his, they've kind of steered away from a lot of his faults, and he wasn't perfect.
There's one thing that stuck out about Kennedy. He was the only president who wasn't blood related to British royalty.
He was. He is. I know that for a fact.
From my understanding, he was the one exception. He's still elite, but he won't British royalty.
He was. He is. He wasn't. He didn't have to be. The same royalty. He could have. He was connected to the French royalty, to the Normans, and So which they are part of that same French thing. He's bloodline. It's just a little bit different bloodline.
Yeah, well, I was going to say something about bloodlines, Jerry. Kennedy was bloodline, and Kennedy, well, he did expose the secret societies and things like that before he got popped. And then I know some other bloodline that exposes a whole lot.
Yeah, right.
I'm not
You know.
I'm not gonna say no names,
Well,
but
you know,
I know some bloodline. Yep.
I tell you what, there is something weird about, they always say that the Knights of Columbus are like some of the assassins of the Catholic Church, but versus the Masons where I live here now, it's all Knights of Columbus big time, and you don't see much of the Knights of Columbus anymore throughout the country, and there's a definite difference. I don't know what it is, but they're somewhat different. They're strange. You know what the weird thing about the Knights of Columbus, though, although it's kind of scary, is their home base is right across from the New Haven Green, across from Yale, and the tunnels that connect all through Yale connect to the Knights of Columbus. Because I know that because I've been in the tunnels, so I know that for a fact, but it's just always been weird that they were a part
Well,
of.
see, that goes back to what I've been saying. There's systems of tunnels everywhere you go underneath us. In every country in the world, there's systems of tunnels.
Yeah.
Like there's literally a world beneath our feet that literally, I mean, down in caves and things like that. These elites now, if they decide to like nuke the world, all they have to do is go down to their little underground complex, where they have their own little bomb shelters, and they got their own like places where they can grow food and livestock, and they have everything they need to survive.
Yeah. Well, the Templars have always been tunnel diggers. I mean, that's what they do. That's their specialty. They dig tunnels. I mean, that's been going on throughout history. They're tunnel people. That's what they do. So, they're not going to stop digging tunnels. That's what they do. They're tunnel diggers. They've been, you go back to the Crusades when they were digging back into the tunnels that to dig out, the reason why they knew the hidden, the hidden books and everything else were under, the temple in Jerusalem, is because they come from the family that, what happened was when King Titus had sacked Jerusalem, the Jewish priests took off to France and Germany. Okay. And so that family, those Jewish priests bloodline ended up going back to get their stuff. That's all that happened. When Titus got rid of them, they were, they hid their knowledge and they escaped to France. And people think like these French Templars, they heard about knowledge and started digging. No, it's because they already knew it was there. They just waited till the time when they could get back there. And everybody thinks these crusades, were going on when the Templars were fighting. Well, they were actually getting along with the assassins, and they were teaching each other. They were having wars with each other, but they were also, the top levels were learning from each other. And the assassins taught them a lot of brainwashing techniques. And they used some of that and brought it back to Europe. So they didn't just come back with the hidden knowledge. They also came back with a lot of knowledge they learned from the Hashim,
Yeah.
And then they, not only that, is then they brought their crap all over the world.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
And
really, the Freemasons are really just a Knights Templar. I mean, it's funny because they talk about the Knights Templars and it's like something that was disbanded, but it never really was disbanded. I mean, officially it was, but unofficially they just changed their names. They changed their names. They went underground. And more ways than one, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, they really didn't hide that hard. Most of them went to Switzerland. Some of them went to Spain. Some of them went, here and there. But they went to Scotland. But they from what I'm reading, it doesn't. It was just one French king that got real pissed off. The Pope was still on the side. They talk about how the Pope, was against them, but it looks like the Pope was on their side. So it was all a big scam. But then again, if you look through the history, the papacy has been nothing but a big joke, anyways.
What was happening is they're dismantling that priest. That priest is on the way out. The new priest is on the way in.
Oh, but that's what they did.
Remember how when Christianity rose, and you had like a whole lot of people that were still on to their old traditional pagan beliefs, and all those that refused to convert were eventually put on the chopping block. That's kind of how it was then. It would be kind of similar to that with the new religion, I think, when it comes in.
The new religion's already
did you hear
coming
me,
in,
Bill?
Warren.
Yeah, well, did you hear me, Bill's answer last night to the new religion? How we're going to beat it?
I love it.
I declared myself the Jewish Messiah.
Oh yeah.
They can't have any other Messiah coming because Jerry's the new Messiah. So screw everybody else, because I looked at it like this: because if the Jewish people that they think they can do all these bad things to bring about their Messiah, well, what kind of Messiah would that be? That would be a piece of crap Messiah. We don't want no piece of crap Messiah. So I'm going to declare myself Messiah before they can have somebody Messiah. So now they can't have a Messiah because Jerry's the Messiah.
Yeah.
I guess since I'm Jewish, they're going to have to go along with it, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Right. Jerry's
sorry,
already.
Your Messiah, sorry.
Yep, Jerry's already made his first 24 hours as the new Messiah.
Yeah. And my first thing is going to be to give all the land back to Palestine, and now they have to be slaves to the Palestinians.
yeah. Yeah, that really is the crazy thing, right? I mean, you look at what the idea is that the state of Israel supposedly formed on is that they were fleeing the Holocaust to build a homeland away from that, right? Supposedly, right? Well, at least that's what they believe, right? I mean, so then they start going to the Palestinians, and what do? They start rounding them up in like a fucking genocide. I mean, just like the fucking Nazis.
Well, I mean, that's the thing where people don't want to accept that the elite Jews were actually the ones behind the Nazi Party, and people don't want to accept that. But all you have to do is look what they're doing now. Who else on this planet is rounding people up, putting them into a small area, and then bombing the shit out of it? The Palestinians put bombs in toys and leave them on the roads in the Palestinian neighborhoods, waiting for kids to pick them up. So these are sick people. They're enacting genocide right in front of our faces, and trying to also say they're the victims of a Holocaust. Wait a second, you're the only people out there on the planet right now that are enacting genocide. So maybe the story we were told might not be exactly right, because why would you do the exact thing that you were so horrified of happening? It doesn't make any sense. And just like that trivia method, there's no contradictions in nature. So if there's a contradiction, there might be a lie, and you should investigate further. And it's crazy how, there's a big contradiction when the people that are the victims of genocide are supposedly genociding people. Well, not supposedly, they are genociding people. So these people that are genociding people are the victims of a genocide? That's a contradiction. So people should investigate that more. And, God forbid if you actually said, well, maybe the story we were told and the Holocaust is not exactly the way it was. What if we told them the truth on how, that the Jewish leaders said, well, no, we need for some Jewish people to die because, that's how they wanted it to look. They don't realize that a lot of Jewish people died because
what that was? Because the Jewish aristocracy at that time wanted a reason to get the common Jews to go along with the Zionist agenda. So they said, we got to sacrifice some Jews to scare the shit out of them, and to sell to sell them on Zionism.
Well, like the Rothschild castle in France that bears the same last name as me. Lavier's castle in France. Now, why during World War II did that not get hit with one bomb or a bullet? If they're so Jewish, and they're right on the border of Germany, the same way that the Germans came into France, so they had to pass the Rothschild's castle or chateau or whatever they call it, and they just didn't hit it. This big giant castle in the middle of nowhere, everything else is a small little house. They just happen to, we're just going to walk by it. Hi, Mr. Rothschild, we're just here to invade France. How do people not get this? It's just like how ISIS bombed Israel. Wait a second. Hey, we're gonna come over here and do a terrorist attack in America. We're gonna do some up in the UK. We're gonna do some down in Spain. Maybe we're gonna have some in France. Maybe we're gonna go down to Australia and have some ISIS attacks too. But we're gonna skip over Israel, that's right next to us.
No, and the ones that they claim to be most violently against, that hate the most more than anybody, probably even more than the U.S. They're not going to have any attacks there. They won't attack all these other places. I feel you.
They're going to have to go through all the heck that they have to go through to get to America, or else. How the hell did I just get to Australia? That's what I want to know. Do they have some kind of secret navy? How the hell did they get to Australia?
I know what happened. I know how they got there. They were like an ice cube, and they floated on the water.
Yeah, they just floated over. They
60 seconds.
It blows my mind sometimes. It blows my mind.
Okay, guys. We're down to our last minute, so I'm just letting you know we're down to the last minute. The show's going to cut us off. So, well, I guess we'll call it a night because you're both up on Blog Talk, and Blog Talk's about to say bye in 40 seconds.
I just meant to call in for a minute. I'm sorry for interrupting the show.
Oh, no, that's all right. You did great. You did great. So we'll see you Thursday night with Warren, and then I'll be back here again on Sunday with Jerry, my favorite night of the week. And I was actually happy to have Jerry on here with Warren tonight. That was cool. But until then, people, I guess you all have a good one. And until the next show, take it easy.
10 seconds.
Good night, Bill. Good night.
Good night.
Warren. Good night, everybody.
Good night, man. I'll see y'all next week.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.